Hello everyone, back with a recent watches video. So it's part 24. I think it's been 9 or 10 days since I did the last one. I did check, but it was yesterday, so it might have changed since. I've watched 1, 2, 5, 8 films in that time, so almost one a day. Yeah, been quite busy working sort of 5 or 6 days straight each week, so on days off I've had to get other things done and that. Anyway, enough backstory. I'm sure you don't need to know the history of my week. You're here for the film, so I'll get on with it. I think they're mostly, well, not really horror, but they're kind of monstrously themed. I'll show you when I get to them. So the first thing I've watched, I'll show the whole box set, but it is just Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors. So yeah, I think I dropped this the other day. I didn't actually realise, but quite bent on the side. Yeah, I do need to upgrade this really. Obviously, they do have the new 4K set. I think you can get just a standard 4K set for like £100, or the Steelbook one for 200. Probably won't be getting either. Definitely won't be getting the Steelbook one. Not the biggest Steelbook collector, but yeah, even the normal one at £100. I've said a few times, original Nightmare on Elm Street, which I do have on 4K if I can find it. Yeah, really good 4K, very dark. Obviously, it's meant to be, but I think on the old DVD copy, you didn't always realise how dark the rooms looked and things. Like, so with a bit when, sure, it's not a spoiler to say, she's getting like dragged around the ceiling and things by Freddy. Yeah, when I used to watch it, the room was kind of gloomy, but it looked like it wasn't well lit rather than it was in a dark bedroom. Whereas, yeah, I've got to say, where most 4Ks are all about how colourful they are, how good the sound is, how sharp the picture, this one really highlights like the shadows and the darkness of the room. But yeah, obviously I already have that on 4K, so it'd only probably be Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors I would bother getting on 4K. Maybe Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I do enjoy that. It's kind of meta film. For me, it's kind of a bit like Scream, but not as good. But yeah, probably would still be one worth owning. But yeah, Freddy's Revenge Part 2, Dream Master, which is Part 4, Dream Child, which is Part 5. I can kind of get enjoyment out of them. They're not great films, but you know, a lot of these franchises in general, but especially like horror franchises, they're not always consistent in quality throughout. Nightmare on Elm Street 6, Freddy's Dead, really bad, probably the worst. Can't remember if it's so bad it's fun or it's just bad. I haven't seen it in years. The only highlight I can really remember of it, one good kill scene, won't go into it too much. I mean, the film's already spoiled by the people that made it, so I can't really spoil it. But yeah, it's one kill scene, something to do with like his eardrum is quite good. And then one bit where a guy's like floating on a balloon, and then Freddy puts like a bed of nails, but it's very comic book, very silly. Is that the one where there's a Freddy witch flying on a broomstick? Yeah, it just went a bit too silly. I think Dream Warrior's got the best balance of jokes and quotables and being a bit silly, but still having a bit of darkness and being a horror film and not making Freddy into like a joke, basically. Yeah, obviously Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1, the original, Freddy does say a few quips and things, but yeah, he's not really comedy. I think it was probably Part 4 the Dream Master. Maybe that's the one done by what's his name? It was A Long Kiss Goodnight, Die Hard 2. I'm having a mental blank, but I'll think of it in a minute. Yeah, the only other good thing about Freddy's Dead is it has Alice Cooper in a starring role. I think he's like Freddy's dad or something. I know Marcus Mexball2708 is a fan of Alice Cooper, but yeah, I've gave this long enough of a preliminary intro, so yeah, Dream Warriors. Don't know if it's my favourite. After watching it again the other day, first time I've watched it in years, it's not as well made a film as Part 1. It's arguably more fun and entertaining. Some really good kills, really good cast. The way the kids are. When I was younger, I thought they were in like a mental home, like an asylum, but I guess it's like a sleep clinic. But they are all quite, in fact, being harsh, mentally deranged. Yeah, I'd say it's probably more enjoyable for me, but yeah, it's not a better film than Part 1. directed by Chuck Russell. One thing I was very surprised at when I went back and watched it the other day, remember it having a good soundtrack. Part 1 obviously has the really memorable intro theme, and then the little song of 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. But part 3, I'm quite surprised when I started watching it. The soundtrack, the score, is done by Angelo Badalamenti. So anybody who's a fan of David Lynch probably knows he did Twin Peaks, the series. I think he did Fire Walk with Me. A few other David Lynch films. Probably not Elephant Man on that, because that's quite an early one, or Razorhead. But yeah, quite a few of the later ones. Sure, he's done work with other directors, but he was well known for working with David Lynch. And yeah, he does a really good score on this. Really good special effects, some good quotables, like Welcome to Primetime, Bitch. The bit when he's got like the kid as the puppet with using his tendons. Yeah, very memorable, fun film. Still got a cameo from Heather Langenkamp. Well, more than a cameo. She's quite a main character. Cameo from John. Oh, not going to tell me on here, is it? If I can see his name on the back. No, I'm sure everybody knows I'm on about John Saxon, I want to say. Not sure if that's correct. I'm sure everybody knows. Just like a classic actor. But yeah, The Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, like I say, enjoyable, quite gory. Funny, but never too silly. I mean, what you'd expect. Some kind of burnt creeper guy coming in your dreams to kill you with a handful of knives. It's not very logical, but yeah, when the original part is quite dark and really plays on them trying not to go to sleep. Yeah, part 3, more fun, a bit more of a romp. Some good characters and actors in it. Yeah, I give that I guess a 7.5. No, because I guess the original Nightmare on Elm Street, one of my favourite horrors, probably my top 15. Plug to Stuart George's home movies. It's done his top 15 horror films. Really good video. Go and watch it. Go and subscribe. Sure, everybody knows Stuart. I think he's got about 600 views on it, so I'm sure most people in the community have watched it. Yeah, probably would be in my top 15 or so, the original. So yeah, so I give that a 9. Yeah, I give this an 8, I guess, for Dream Warriors. Hopefully they'll release the 4K to Dream Warriors on its own. Because, yeah, obviously they've done the box set. I don't want to get the whole box set because I'm not a massive fan of a lot of the films. I've already got the original on 4K. So, yeah, just waiting for Dream Warriors to come out on its own 4K. So, yeah, I guess an 8 for Dream Warriors. Kind of a fun film. Watched it a lot as a kid. When I went back to watch it now, like I say, it doesn't stand up as well as I remember. Not as well made, but still fun. So yeah, I guess I'm sort of seeing it through rose-tinted glasses. If I watch it the first time now, I might be like, oh, it's a bit hokey or something. I'd be interested to know what people that are watching it for the first time think of it. But yeah, for me, outside of the original Nightmare on Elm Street, it's the best. Next, this one courtesy of Stuart George. So talking to Stuart George, don't want to plug him too much in this video, but to plug one of my videos, obviously I had a gift from Roy, a big box of gifts from Stuart, and I think I showed some purchases, pickups haul video kind of thing on it, but this is one of the ones Stuart sent me, which I was most impressed with. They were all good quality films and editions. Some of them were quite a bit of money, I think, but this one was sealed and a 4K, so yeah, very generous of Gorgo. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. Kind of went in, I think maybe I'd seen it on the TV or something as a kid when I was watching it. Some of it was bringing back memories. Probably a few other monster films where London city's being attacked by big creatures. But yeah, I think it did sort of ring some bells. Yeah, going into it, I thought it'd be, low budget, bit hokey. Some of the creature effects don't look too great. Sometimes it's just like a big rubber model. It kind of almost looks like an inflatable sort of thing. But for me, it's more about the actual filmmaking and the cast. So yeah, I thought the other than the creature attacking, the actual story with the humans would not be great acting or too well made. But I was quite surprised. It's actually really well done. It's well made. The interactions with the humans, the sort of human cast. They're British, but it kind of reminded me a bit of Poseidon Adventure or Towering Inferno. not just an ensemble cast, but yeah, just the style of the acting and things. I mean, it is from, I find a year. No, I can't actually see a year. I'm guessing it's like late 70s. Yeah, I mean, I might have watched it when I was younger, but this was pretty much a first time watch, really, rather than a rewatch. But yeah, I was quite impressed. Yeah, it's a fun film. I mean, it's only 77 minutes, so it does pass by quite fast. I think if it was longer, it wouldn't get boring or anything, but 4K looks really good. Obviously, I've not really seen like the DVD or Blu-ray to see how much of an upgrade this is, but yeah, the picture looks sharp. Some really good set pieces. The practical effects when he's like attacking London, it looks believable. Obviously, he's not really attacking the real London, but directed by Eugene Laurie. At least I've heard of him. Starring Bill Travers, William Sylvester, Vincent Winter, Christopher Rhodes, Joseph O'Connor, and Bruce Seaton. But yeah, expected to go in and it be, when I say, I'm trying to think of an example of like a real low budget kind of monster film. I don't really think of one off the top of my head, but yeah, expected it to be a bit like the effects and that I thought would have aged, but I thought, yeah, the sort of setup and when you see the humans interacting, I thought it'd be some B-movie stars that ain't great at acting, but no, was actually quite surprised and impressed at how well made a film it is. So yeah, I think if I'm giving Nightmare on Elm Street 3 an 8, I would give this one an 8 as well. Gorgo, basically a British version of Godzilla, but it's got a lot of charm, really enjoyable. He is causing some carnage. Sometimes I guess you go into these, it's overhyping it, and when you actually watch it, don't kind of get the carnage and city devastation you're hoping for. Whereas, no, it does go there. He is wrecking stuff big time. But yeah, thank you for that one, Stuart. Got another one Stuart sent me I've watched as well. Next, oh yeah, actually, coincidentally, it's this next one. Is it, or have I muddled them up? Obviously, I put them in an order when I watch them, but when I take a photo of it for the thumbnail, I think sometimes I do muddle them up. No, I think this, it must have been this one. I'll talk about it next. I think it was this. Yeah, I remember watching it in the daytime. So yeah, this day I'd watched 3 films. So yeah, courtesy of Stuart George again. Night of the Living Dead from 1990, the Tom Savini remake. I had watched this once as a kid, must have been about 8 years old. If it came out in 1990, yeah, it's probably showing on TV at like 92 or so. Remember it not being scary when I was a kid, but yeah, I remember some quite gory sections. I think I spoke about it briefly on the last video, and I said it was sorry, I've got an eyelash itch in my eye. I don't think it's better made than the original, and obviously the original is a seminal genre-defining film, but hopefully it's not too offensive to our fans of the original. Say maybe this is more entertaining, to me at least. I imagine to the younger generation who have got ADHD from looking at their phones and such a short attention span, they might find this one more entertaining. Yeah, I think it's the only film Tom Savini's directed, to my knowledge. I think he does all the special effects as well. Obviously, he's known for his special effects, really. But he directs this well. I mean, it is very similar to the original. Plots are similar. It's even got a lot of the same, they're coming to get you, Barbara. A lot of the same dialogue and things. So be interested to see if Tom Savini had directed it from scratch, or he'd wrote the script or the screenplay or something. How good it would be. Whereas, I guess if you're going to adapt an already classic, timeless kind of story, then you've already got a bit of a head start. So maybe it's a better quality because of that than his actual directing skills. But let me know in the comments if you know if he's directed anything else. It's not saying on here he has, other than obviously done the special effects for Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead. Patricia Tallman from Army of Darkness. Can't remember her being in that, but she's good. Kind of got short hair, quite attractive in it. Tony Todd, I think I did speak briefly in the last video. I was quite impressed by him being a protagonist. being like the leading guy, because yeah, usually he is either plays like the main villain, like in Candyman, where yeah, he really embodies that character. His voice and the way he looks with his big trench coat and his hook, he genuinely, I don't think anyone really could have played that character better than he did. And then in cameos, like I said in the other video, Final Destination, Hatchet Part 1, I think, One Owl's Give Me recently, The Reaper, I think it's called, which I haven't watched yet. Yeah, he always kind of either has a smaller part or plays the main villain, whereas yeah, in this he is like the main character. He carries it on his shoulders well. His acting's good. The acting all round was good. Really good special effects, good pacing. It's only 88 minutes. It's an Umbrella Entertainment release, so the only Umbrella I've got. It is, I think, Region A, but it played on my PS5 fine. So if anybody's wondering, yeah, I did try and play an old DVD. That was a region, might have been Region Zero, so I think it was a Japanese film, but that just wouldn't play. I guess some of these DVDs are over 20 years old, so the software might not be up to date. Whereas, yeah, I was kind of worried when I put it in, it wouldn't read it. Like I said, I would have kept it in the collection anyway, because it's one I've always wanted to own. But no, it did play, did enjoy it. Bill Moseley, yeah, he's quite young in this. Tom Towles, did say he's out of Halloween. Can't remember which character he is in Halloween. But yeah, good cast. Yeah, I don't want to give this an 8 as well and just keep giving 8s. I'll give this a 7 point. No, I'll give it an 8. Yeah, I was going to say I'll give it a 7.5, but it's not fair because yeah, I would say it's a worse film than Gorgo or Dream Warriors. In fact, it's probably better made, and those do have some sort of lower budget feel, and Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 might come across as a bit hokey by today's standards, but no, this still does stand up. Like I say, really good gore, some really tense scenes. Obviously, I won't spoil the ending, but quite poignant. Good sort of character development, especially with the guy that's hiding in the basement and tries to keep his wife hiding down there, and then he's got a daughter and something happens to her. But yeah, 8, The Night of the Living Dead. Hopefully the next one I'm not gonna hopefully it's not gonna be all 8s. Maybe I'm being too generous. This one probably did see it. I've picked it up recently. If you've been watching my previous videos, is Livid. That's the British title. I think the French title, when it was originally released, it's just got an E on the end, so like Livid. Yes, from the directors of Inside, Julien Maury and Alexandra Bustillo. Inside, yeah, probably my favourite from the new wave of French extreme horror, it was kind of known as. I think Martyrs is a better film, but yeah, Martyrs is the kind of film I can't watch too often. Not only disturbing, but it's quite depressing in that. Whereas Inside, as much as it's gory and brutal, I wouldn't say it's a fun film, but it's easier to digest than Martyrs is. Yeah, watched it, I think, twice before on the DVD copy. Always enjoyed it, but yeah, it wasn't one of my favourites of the sort of French horror. But since watching it again, don't know whether it's improved because it's on Blu-ray with better picture and sound, or I was just in more of a mood for it, or it improves with watches. But yeah, really enjoyed this. Really gory. Not done in the way of Inside. It's not as mean-spirited. Not really a spoiler to say Inside is a kind of home invasion film. This is to a certain extent. I'll read you the synopsis. I think I did speak about this in the last video, but I gave my take on it, which is probably a skewed vantage point, whereas on here it's saying, within a vast, desolate and slowly decaying mansion, an aging woman lies in a coma, kept alive by a life support machine. Assigned to look after her, a young care worker named Lucy discovers that the old woman is Madame Giselle, previously a ballet teacher of some repute and rumoured to have hidden great riches inside the house. Determined to find the treasure, Lucy and 2 of her friends break in at night but uncover a darker secret that will throw them into a deadly labyrinth of supernatural hell. The directors of Inside Livid will leave you reeling with fear. 18, containing strong gory horror from 2011, 92 minutes. Yeah, I'd say it's, out of all the French extreme films, Martyrs, Inside, Switchblade Romance, they're all kind of a bit more slashers. Is the sort of horrifying element is usually the gore and the brutality, rather than any they've got atmosphere, but what's the word I'm looking for? Suspense. I mean, Inside does have suspense, and it is kind of creepy when the woman's trying to get into her house, but this is a bit more of like a sort of, I wouldn't say a ghost story, but they're kind of trapped in a haunted house kind of film, I would say. It's not a spoiler because it does say on the back a unique spin on the vampire myth. But yeah, I think I did say when I spoke about it on the last video, I will say it in case people haven't watched that. I'm really big fan of Abigail. I think it's one of the best horror films in modern times. Probably the best vampire film since Lost Boys and Fright Night. And it is original, but yeah, I thought Abigail, the concept they come up with, her being like a young ballerina girl with her hair in a bun, sharp teeth, blood all over her tutu, was created by them. But as you can see here, hopefully you can with this glare, don't know if they stole the idea off Livid. So many ideas have been done. Like they say, there's nothing original. It's how you do it. Yeah, it might be a coincidence. Yeah, it's probably not too hard to think, let's make a vampire film with a ballet girl and then be like, oh, actually, it's already been done in Livid. Or maybe the directors directors of Abigail seen Livid and thought, that's a good idea, we'll use that in our film. But either way, yeah, it is creepy, suspenseful, quite a few bits, won't really go into it, but when stuff's happening and they're trapped in the house and kind of hear like a clockwork mechanism and the doors are locking and corridors are changing, like it says, it's kind of a labyrinth. And yeah, you do feel quite a lot of dread. There's like some jump scares. Not super gory compared to some of these French extreme films, but it has a few nasty scenes. One sort of bit with someone's neck is all I'm going to say. It's quite haunting. Really good soundtrack. The music sounds like the score, should I say, sounds like a music box, which kind of makes sense in the context of the film. Some of the cinematography, amazing. In the house and that, not so much, where it's all dark, in like old mansion with like dusty curtains and old Axminster carpets, whereas some of the shots when they're outside and before she gets to the mansion, it shows like sprawling country lane with hills and countryside vistas. And yeah, not only the way it's shot and the sort of panoramic viewpoints, but the colours and things on that, yeah, really impressive. Wondering if these directors are going to do anything else, or have they done anything else? Let me know. Yeah, I think in terms of the newest sort of French extreme films, I think you've got Titan, I think it's called, and Rule was probably about 10 years old. But yeah, I've not really known too many to be released since then, so hopefully they get back on making them and releasing them, because yeah, it's one of my favourite period subsections of horror, really. French extreme movement. But yeah, I'd give that an 8.5. Probably enjoyed it more than the other ones, and really well made film, really tense, very memorable. And yeah, really did make my skin crawl some parts of it. I was watching it like midnight or so with the lights off, and yeah, it's got some tense scenes and a few bits where it's set up where she's going in the room and something's waiting, and it's really sort of getting to you as to what's going to happen, putting you on edge. From that, which was quite dark. So yeah, I said I watched 3 in the same day. So Nightmare on Elm Street, Night of the Living Dead, Tom Savini remake from 1990. I watched that probably like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I thought it was quite the film, the way it's made, it is quite well lit and stuff. It is kind of, a lot of it is in the day when they're in the house. Then obviously I watched that one, yeah, probably about midnight or so, and it was quite dark. So then I thought I needed something a bit lighter hearted. So yeah, you're probably thinking, well, if you didn't finish that till 1, 2 in the morning, how did you watch this one? Whereas yeah, I think that day I'd been a bit ill or something, so I think I slept in the day, then I got up in the afternoon. So yeah, I was probably watching this one at like 3 in the morning. Bad channels. So I did show I'd pick this one up. It's an 88 films release. Really nice, as Marcus would say, hard rigid slipcase. Or does he say hard rigid box? Let me know if you're watching. I've not seen Subspecies or Terrorvision, which are also directed by this Ted Nicolau. I heard Subspecies is fun. They're like vampire films, but they are kind of meant to be what you'd expect from Full Moon features, which can be quite low budget. It's like owned by Charles Band. If you're not a fan of like the Puppet Master, Demonic Toy films, Head of the House, then you might not. Head of the Family, sorry. Shrunken Heads, things like that. They can be a bit hokey, but they're kind of done in a fun way. But those are sort of horrors, sometimes with unintentional comedy. But this is not really a horror. It's just a sci-fi comedy. Like, it is only a 12, so yeah, it's not got too much gore or anything. In Space, no one is safe from rock and roll, it says. Directed, by Ted Nicolau. I was looking at it, it looked quite interesting, but I thought, it could be really bad. But what sold it to me was the score is by Blue Oyster Cult. I would have to say it is a musical, really, I guess. It's about 4 music numbers. It's kind of banned, so if anybody remembers the Young Ones, the old TV show with Rick Mellon, Adrian Edmondson, Alexei Sells, every episode, a band would like come into their living room and play some music, usually like punk bands and things. I think on the Video Nasties episode, it might have been the Ramones that played on there. It's kind of a bit like that, where it's not a musical, say like Grease, where, someone says something, everyone in the street starts singing and dancing. As a kid, I was like, how do they all know the words to this song? This person's inventing the song. They've heard one sentence of it, and yet they've already learned it. Whereas in this, it's kind of more in context, where a band will like come into the frame and then they'll start playing music, but it kind of works because basically it's set up where this guy is a radio DJ, kind of radio host. I say DJ, he's not actually mixing tracks, he's just playing them. But he does a thing where he gets like a big chain, wraps himself up, puts a padlock on it with a number combination on it, and then the callers are ringing in, and not only do they win money, but he can't be unlocked until they get the combination right. Stunts, they call it, and he does pranks, but he does play music and talk, but yeah, he's a bit more of like a sort of comedy shock jock radio DJ, would you call it? He's got a really good voice, a lot of charisma. Paul Hipp, the guy that plays DJ Dangerous Dan O'Dare, a lot of alliteration there. Yeah, because it's all about music and he's playing music. When the bands do play their stuff, it does make sense. But basically, he's got the radio station, alien. Yeah, you see a spaceship, and then I think it's just a single alien basically takes over the radio station. And then he uses this like zapping device to capture these ladies and put them in these small glass cases. Yeah, it's quite weird to explain, but yeah, I was quite pleasantly surprised how fun it is. It's a bit hokey and low budget you'd expect for Full Moon features in this kind of film, but it's better made than most of the stuff I've ever seen from them. If you like kind of weird, quirky sci-fis with a bit of musical numbers in it, then I think you'll like this. Yeah, it's not really got any gore or anything. Frequent strong language, moderate sex references, and discrimination. It's even got a little ode. I don't know if you could see it on the back there. Probably not. To Seymour, I think his name is, from Little Shop of Horrors. It's like a big plant monster. But yeah, quite pleasantly surprised. Bought it and was thinking this might be the one I'm not going to get on with and trade into CEX, but no, definitely be keeping it in the collection. Obviously, it is 88 films, which I do like, so I do collect them, but if it was really that crap, then maybe I'd think of like moving it on, but no. Entertaining, quite funny, very bizarre. Yeah, if you're into like lower budget sci-fis in general, you'd enjoy this, but if you're kind of not burned out, but you're looking for something different with a different spin and a bit more quirky than your normal sci-fi, then yeah, give Bad Channels a go. But yeah, quite fun. Good soundtrack by the Blue Oyster Cult. Very weird and bizarre. Kind of thing, even though I watched it and it was entertaining, I wasn't falling asleep or anything at the time, I was alert. I think I kind of need to watch it again to take it in, because some of it I was like, did that really happen? Or did I fall asleep and have a malaria-induced fever dream halfway through it? So yeah, from something quite fun in Bad Channels, I thought I'd cleanse my palate from Livid, which is quite, not too brutal, but very serious and dark and quite, like I say, tense watch. After Bad Channels, which was kind of comedy and quite light-hearted, I thought, right, now I'm ready to go back to something brutal. I've seen this once properly, which I watched it on Shudder. I think I literally get like a 3-month Shudder subscription. Took it out just to watch this one, also The Coffee Table and When Evil Lurks. Watched it the first time. Guess it's probably, I don't know if it's on 4K when it's on like streaming services. Might be just Blu-ray. Yeah, enjoyed it. Then my mate wanted to watch it, so I started watching it with him. He fell asleep halfway through. It's not because it's definitely not boring, but he's like a dad and he's got kids and he'd been up since 5 a.m, and then we'd had a few drinks, so it was only like 11 at night and he was falling asleep. So I was kind of watching half of it, and then I was like, I might as well pause it there, and then he can watch the rest of it the next day rather than me finishing it and not knowing where we got to. It's The Sadness. This slipcase is alright. I think it's one of the cases, no pun intended, where I wouldn't have put this slipcase on it if I was Arrow. I'd much prefer this artwork. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's just people harming each other. Just kind of what happens in the film. But I really like the yellow, cartoony, almost Where's Wally childish kind of style to it. I think the Arrow Video exclusive, if you get it off their website, the slipcase did actually have this nice yellow artwork on the outside. Whereas, yeah, it's kind of nice in this like dark red slipcase. But yeah, I think this does pop a lot more. 18, sexual violence, strong bloody violence, gore and sex, 100 minutes. Written and directed by Rob Jabaz. So yeah, this is a Taiwanese film. So I think I did speak about this briefly on when I picked it up. And I did say Taiwan and one of the leading forces now in not just horror, but quite brutal, disturbing horror. Obviously, for a long time, it was the French, the Japanese, the Koreans, I would say, were the 3 leading exponents of brutality. But Taiwan has come on the map big time. Yeah, I don't really even know where to start with this. This is insane. You've probably heard of some of the other like notorious films out there where, you know, there's 4 or 5 set pieces which are gory or insane, and you know there'll be downtime within it. Whereas this is just almost start to finish, not just a lot of gore and brutality happening, a lot of originality. You know, I've seen a lot of gore and killings and things in films in the past. You're like, you know, if someone's been stabbed with a pitchfork or someone's been had their throat slit with a knife, strangled to death. You could think of most of these, whereas nearly every killing in this is original. But yeah, it's just relentless. Like I say, if anybody knows ones like a Serbian film or Salò, I mean, a Salò I just found boring, but the disturbing moments and set pieces probably come like every 10 minutes or so and give you a bit of respite, whereas this is just full on. There's no downtime. It's actually really well made film, really well shot, good story. Really brutal dialogue, some of the words and stuff, obviously when they're like threatening the people what they'll do to them, it's pretty sick. A lot of very vulgar sexual language and things. See if I'll read this little bit to you. When a deadly virus spontaneously mutates in Taiwan, it suddenly gives rise to a fast-acting, mind-altering plague. The streets erupt into violence and depravity as those infected are driven to enact the most sadistic and ghastly acts that they can think of. Amidst the carnage, a young couple, Jim and Kat, doesn't really make sense, but is pushed to the limits. I think it should be a young couple. Jim and Kat are pushed to the limits of sanity as they try and reunite across town amidst the chaos. The age's civility and order is no more. There is only the sadness. Inspired in part by Garth Ennis's brutal graphic novel Crossed, The Sadness is a vicious satire of the darkest depths of humanity and an apocalyptic powerhouse of an action-based horror film packed with incredible practical special effects, guaranteed to make even the most hardened gorehound squirm. Yeah, that's correct. Oh, hang on, sorry, I didn't give that a score. I'd give a 7.5 to Bad Channels. But yeah, back on with The Sadness. It's shocking. It's disturbing. But like I said, it's so not so over the top, but the gore and the mayhem is sort of filmed in a certain way where not really you become numb to it, but unlike certain films where, you know, it'll have a 10-minute build up and then the scene happens, it's orgiastic. Is that the word? Like a gorgy, an orgy of gore. Special effects, I think it's all practical. if some of CGI I didn't clock it, yeah, it looks so realistic. I don't know if it's gore, CGI, practical CGI, how they've done it, but so many bits when I was wincing, cringing, uh, uncomfortable bits. Mostly they're just attacking people and brutalizing them, but as the film goes on, they start like sexually assaulting as well as attacking. One of the things that's the most shocking of this is rather than a lot of films where you've seen Jason Voorhees single-handedly kill somebody, this will be like a group of 6 people that get them on the floor. They're like snapping their arms and legs, just trying to torture them as much as possible. Although there's gore and mayhem throughout, I'd say there's about 4 main set pieces. There's a bit on the train. Not really a spoiler to say, but these people are on a train, and some people are infected with the plague, and out of nowhere they just start stabbing people, and it's an absolute bloodbath on the train. I don't think I've ever seen so much blood in any scene. It's up there with Brain Dead. Yeah, a while ago I did my ranking of my goriest films ever. I think it was over a year ago, basically back when I used to like film. I basically didn't show myself on the camera, not because I was like camera shy or anything, just the way I used to film it was just to have it so I'm showing the films rather than showing me hold them. Yeah, it wasn't in there because I hadn't seen it at that time, but this would be in there, maybe even number 1. Peter Jackson's Brain Dead is an absolute gore fest, but it's done in a funny satirical comedy horror. I mean, it's quite brutal, but it's not really stomach churning, where it is you're kind of like, oh, that's gross, but then you laugh at it. Whereas this, yeah, it's insane. I don't think it's the most disturbing film I've seen, because like I said, some of it sounds wrong to say some of this is light-hearted, but the context of how it happens kind of makes sense a bit more. So say when you see a zombie film, if you see a bunch of zombies tearing somebody's intestines out, because they're zombies and you don't believe they're real and it's a bit cartoony, it's not going to affect you as much as if you see a film where it's like a normal human, like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, where you believe it can happen, it's done in a more depressing and realistic way. Yeah, this is so like over the top sort of kabuki level of insane that some of it kind of bounces off of my psyche, maybe. Maybe I'm jaded. Well, I thought I was jaded, but this still genuinely shocks me. I mean, I've spoke about it long enough. I won't really go into the scenes of what happens, because it's better for you to go into it blind and be shocked. But I will say there's bits with someone throws hot grease over someone's head and then rips off all their melting skin, people getting stabbed up, limbs being broken. As a bit of an eye socket is all I'm going to say. You have to watch it to find out. I'll probably get banned from YouTube if I tell you what happens. Yeah, insane. I would give this, in terms of genre or envelope pushing the envelope, up in the gore, the craziness of it, it would be like a 10. But in term and for filmmaking, it would be like an 8. So yeah, overall, I guess I'd give this an 8.5. I'm tempted to give it a 9, but I don't think I can really rank this as the best film of the week. But filmmaking wise, yeah, maybe it is. But yeah, I'll give it an 8.5. But yeah, if you haven't seen this and you're interested, proceed with caution. Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff. Yeah, I think films like Martyrs disturbed me more, where it's a more of an emotional punch, and afterwards you're kind of depressed. Whereas I wouldn't say this left me depressed, but there were some moments when I was kind of like, whoa, this is hard to take. This is starting to sicken me a bit, but I rode through it. Yeah, 8.5 for this, and I will quickly say, I know Sammy G's got this one. I don't think he's watched it yet, but I will be very interested to see Sammy's take on this, because I don't think he would ever have seen anything this insane and offensive. I would say that's the one thing. It's not just gory in that, it is offensive in the language and the vulgarity and the sexual practices. Is that the right term? But yeah, Sammy has done a sort of unboxing video of this. So yeah, go and look at Sammy's take on it. Does a good video, does it justice. But yeah, Sammy G's World of Cinema, sure everybody knows him. But yeah, The Sadness, insane. This next one is The Ambulance on Eureka Films, starring Eric Roberts, James Earl Jones, Megan Gallagher, and Red Buttons. Red Buttons, I'm pretty sure, is that of the Poseidon Adventure. Directed by Larry Cohen. I did enjoy the stuff. saying he did It's Alive, God Told Me to, Q, The Winged Serpent, which I've heard is a classic but haven't seen it, and The Stuff. I'd say it's probably on a par with The Stuff. Not seen the other one, so I'm not really sure. I can't say this is his best film, but yes, well made. It's a little bit hokey in places. The story setups, I mean, it's 1990, it feels 90s, just 90s, a bit more of 80s. I will say, when you see the people's hairstyles and stuff, not that I can say much, but they've all got like puffed out mullets, and yeah, Eric Roberts, I think, is the main actor. Sounds weird to say, but his hairstyle was annoying me, where it's just quite hard to look at, because it's, yeah, like short kind of on the top, I don't know if you can see it too good, and then real like long on the sides and things, looks a bit like an 80s wrestler. Yeah, Eric Roberts, I think I've seen him in other things. He's not the best like leading man, but he carries the film in this. James Earl Jones really good in it. Got a lot of gravitas, especially his voice, the voice of Darth Vader. Megan Gallagher, she's good, but can't remember too much about her. Red Button's probably the standout. Plays quite a sort of smaller peripheral role, but he eats up his screen time well. It's actually some quite funny comedy in it. A bit when Red Buttons has been in hospital, and then he gets his what do you call it? What he urinates into is like little bedpan, and he throws it in some guy's face, and then the guy says shit. He said, no, actually, it's piss or something. But some funny bits. But yeah, the bit that I kind of found it hard to get into is this guy's just walking down the street, talking to his mate, sees some random woman, runs up to her, starts like harassing her, and then it's a setup of the film, so it's not a spoiler to say, but she's got diabetes and she needs sugar or whatever, insulin, so she falls on the floor. He doesn't know her. He tries to ring an ambulance for her. This ambulance comes along and picks her up, takes her away, but then he's like trying to find what hospital she's in so he can visit her, but she's just gone missing, so that's kind of a setup. But for me, I was just like, how stalky and weird is this guy? I'm like, literally just met the woman, just going up and talking to her on the street, and she's like, literally, leave me alone, I don't know you. And he's pestering her and running along after her. Everyone in public's watching, and he has no shame. But it's not so much that. You think, once she's gone, mate, leave it. But then he's trying to ring every single hospital, turning up at hospitals, doesn't even, I think he knows her first name, but they're like, what's her surname? He's like, I don't know. They're like, well, you can't know this woman very well. But yeah, I'd say the most memorable thing from this for me is this guy just, yeah, need someone, the police needed to have a word with him, really. But yeah, I guess this film wouldn't have worked if he hadn't been that stalkerish. But yeah, quite bizarre, isn't it? You might see a lady in your local Tesco and think, oh, she's attractive, but you're not going to be like, right, I better ring Tesco head office and see if I can track her down and invade her life. Yeah, the special effects are good. It's entertaining all the way through. Tell me a running time. Maybe, but I can't find one. That's about the slip cover. Looks quite good. Does look a bit like Ecto-1 from Ghostbusters. I do like that. Yeah, I don't think it's really a horror. I'd say it's more of a mystery. It's got a few like bits of violence more than gore. It's only a 15. Yeah, it's enjoyable. First watch for me. Really good picture on Blu-ray. Don't know what it would have looked like on DVD or anything, as I hadn't ever seen it before. Yeah, an enjoyable one, but not a brilliantly made film. And yeah, a few of the plot points and the kind of setup is a bit unbelievable. But if you're watching a lot of these horror films and stuff, the fact that you can believe that if you say Candyman 5 times in the mirror, he's going to come and get you, I guess you can suspend disbelief that there's basically a mystery ambulance takes people away and they go missing. I won't say where they go or why they're taking them or anything, but that's a bit of a reveal later on. But yeah, it's a good story. Not the best film I've seen. Yeah, I'd give that a 7.5 as well, I think. Right. I've waffled on long again, as you expect, so I'll try not to be too long on this one. But this is the last one I'm going to talk about. It's the remake of Suspiria. Heard a lot of mixed things about this. Again, talking of Sammy G, I know he didn't like it at all. I think I was calling Blue Roy Barrett. Roy Barrett from Blue Roy Movies. I think he was quite impressed by this one. I don't think he said it was better than the original. Stuart George, again, gave me this one, so I've watched 3 of the ones you gave me, Stuart. So if someone gives you a load of films, I don't want to be sitting on them for a year, and Stuart's like, have you watched those films I give you yet? I'm like, yeah, I really appreciate them, but I'm never going to watch them. Not only was I actually interested to watch them, but yeah, thought I'd get some of them watched, and I know Stuart and Roy and that did say they'd be interested to know my opinions on this one. Yeah, so it seemed to have quite a mixed reception. I don't think I've spoken to anybody that said it's better than the original. maybe some people have seen this that haven't seen the original. Main thing that stands out in the original for me, Dario Argento film, is the soundtrack. Yeah, I think it's probably the best soundtrack of any film ever. Not just the best, but the kind of the sound. I think that more recently they were called Goblin. I think back in the day they were actually known as The Goblin. But they scored a lot of Dario Argento films. I think they did Demons 1 or 2, Lamberto Bava film. I think they've done a few others, but a bit like I said with Angelo Badalamenti and David Lynch, he did mostly, or I guess they were like an Italian rock band, progressive rock band. But yeah, the sort of theme music to the original Suspiria not only fits well, but it just sets up the whole atmosphere. Even though I only have the original on DVD, the colours are absolutely popping. Whereas this, as much as it was well shot, it's quite dour and quite colourless. I don't know if they went for that aesthetic to sort of juxtapose the original's colourfulness, or just thought we ain't going to be able to get those colours as the original, let's not try. Soundtrack was really good. The soundtrack I was quite enjoying. It's kind of more like a cappella and sort of not folk. I don't really know what this genre was called. I guess it's like downbeat pop. But basically, once I found out the soundtrack was done by Tom York from Radiohead, it kind of made sense. And even though some of it I think he's composed, it'll be like his music with a female singing on it, or him singing, or different people. I don't think all the songs are by him, but yeah, you can kind of hear the Radiohead sort of influences. But yeah, I guess interesting in a way that rather than think, let's try and remake it and do a similar soundtrack, make it colourful, they're like, we're not going to be able to do that, so let's go the opposite way and do the opposite and make the soundtrack quite dour, make the colours quite uncolourful. Filmed by Luca Guadagnino. I can't say I've heard of him before. Director of Call Me By Your Name. I heard that's quite a good film. 152 minutes, are quite long. Yeah, I would say I never found this boring. It was quite slow, but I wasn't getting halfway through thinking, is it over yet or anything. 18 strong bloody violence injury detail. This is a main thing I would say about this is it is infused me to go back and watch the original Suspiria. I think I'm going to watch it today. Haven't watched it in a long time. I do love it. It's one of my favourite horror films, but this had me kind of thinking, is the original Suspiria that gory? Is it that messed up? I can remember a lot of set pieces from it, whereas, yeah, this has got some brutal scenes. One scene, I guess you call it like the secret dance studio, where a lady's getting twisted up is all I'm going to say. Very graphic and quite shocking and disturbing. Overall atmosphere is quite disturbing and weird. I mean, the original is a weird film with a weird atmosphere, but I think this even out weirds it. Dakota Johnson, really good in it as the lead. Tilda Swinton, not usually a big fan of her, but she pulls it off. She's not too intense in that in this, actually. Mia Goth, probably one of the earlier roles from her. She's good in it. Doesn't do too much. Chloe Grace Moretz. Dakota Johnson is the main star. Yeah, here it says, featuring an original score by Radiohead's Tom York. Dancing is good in it. I don't really know too much about dancing, so I thought it was quite impressive. But I'm like, is Dakota Johnson just dancing and she's alright at dancing? Or has she had classical trained dancing? It's the kind of dancing where it's very artistic, and to me it just looks like people are like going wild, but I guess if you're into contemporary dance or whatever you call this, then you might be more impressed. But yeah, they're doing all weird kind of motions with their arms and spinning around on the floor. I would say the dancing in this is not as impressive as Climax. The choreography and that in Climax is the best dancing I've ever seen in anything, not just films, but when you're a kid and you see Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk and you're like, wow, this guy's the best dancer. Yeah, Climax, better dancing. Original Suspiria, I think this has got more dancing than the original Suspiria, but the original I think is more straight up ballet dancing. Like I said, I'm no dancing expert, but yeah, dancing was good and intense, and they showed it a lot. But yeah, if you know, let me know. But I'm not sure if Dakota Johnson had trained dancing to do this, whether she was naturally a dancer and that's why they cast her, or whether she's winging it and the dancing isn't that good, and I don't know because I don't know anything about dancing. Yeah, definitely not better than the original. Different. a good film in its own right. If I'd never seen the original Suspiria, I'd maybe enjoy this more. But yeah, didn't hate it. Was never boring. Some weird like plot choices and things I found quite slow. Yeah, give it a 7. So yeah, enjoyed it. Quite brutal. Some quite brutal language and things. A lot of swearing. But yeah, main take I've got from this is I will go back and watch the original Suspiria. I've not seen it in probably 6 years or so. Yeah, I don't. Obviously, I won't move it on because it's a gift, so I will keep it. But I think it is one I would watch again. But 152 minutes, you have to be in the right mind state. It is, like I say, not a slog in terms of you're not getting bored when you're watching it, but it is quite a big undertaking to spend that long watching one film. It's got a lot of it's got featurettes about making of, the secret language of dance, transformations of Suspiria, and the look. So maybe I'll watch them and it'll tell me a bit more about the background of if she's a classical trained dancer or whatever. But yeah, I would kind of say to me it felt a bit like the atmosphere of Black Swan, which is another kind of ballet dancing film by Darren Aronofsky with Natalie Portman and she did the voice of Meg in Family Guy, Mila Kunis. The kind of atmosphere and style, especially the background of the characters when they're not dancing, a Black Swan, but with the kind of crazy dancing rituals of Climax. But yeah, not as good a film as either. Not a massive fan of Black Swan, but Climax, I think that's a brilliant film, although very disturbing. But yeah, quite shocking. It's well made in its own right. But yeah, to compare it to the original, I wouldn't say it's not a touch on the original, because it's done its own thing. And yeah, I applaud it for being brave and going in a different way. Whereas, yeah, I think if I was a film director and they're like, right, if you want to direct the most colourful film with the best soundtrack ever, I'd be like, well, shit, I better, get some Rick Wakeman in to be doing the soundtrack on his keyboard and get I'm trying to think of famous director of photography, make sure, maybe even consult people that worked on the original Suspiria. How did you get all the green and red lighting to it? Yeah, let me know if it's worth watching Call Me By Your Name. I think it might be like an LGBTQ kind of movie. I'm sure Sam or Ollie would know. But yeah, enjoyed it overall. Didn't hate it. It seems very divisive. I say divisive, I don't know anyone that loves it or says it's better than the original. But yeah, some people like Roy were like, it's a good film, I enjoyed it. Other people were like, I hated it, I'm never watching it again, I want to sell it, like I think Sammy G said. Whereas, yeah, entertaining enough. Right, I'm going to leave it there because, yeah, I'm going on an hour, so I always try not to make it too long, but I can't really help it with these recent watches. Doesn't seem to matter whether I've watched 6 or whether I watched 15. I still go on for like 50 minutes. So I guess in my brain, I'm kind of like, if I've got 15 I've watched, I'm like, right, I better only talk about them for a little bit. Whereas when I've got less, the video should be shorter, but I kind of get a bit of glee for like, right now I can go into depth and bang on about each film for like 8 minutes or so. Next video I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to call it Gateway to Horror. So it's films, I've mentioned a few, but like the original Ghostbusters, The Burbs, that kind of films. If you want to get your kids into horror and build them up slowly before you get them onto the real nasty stuff, then these are the kind of films you could start them with. So yeah, I'll be recording that maybe today, but I'll upload it in a few days to give you some breathing time and respite from this lengthy epic of a video. Hopefully it's been enjoyable. I think I've been in a bit more of a serious mood today, so I don't think I've done too many funny comedy moments, so sorry if that's what you're watching for. Yeah, watch of the week, I would say, is probably Livid, to be fair. Well, I've gave that a high score, 8.5. I'll link anybody I've spoke about. Thank you to Stuart for the gifts. So, yeah, 3 of those were courtesy of Stuart George, aka Sherlock. Right, thank you, everybody. Bye.